internet. Originally I wasn't going to make a video on this just because my guitar skills are mediocre at best. But hey, I figure I have a meatloaf cooling off in the background, nothing to do today, and I literally just got this guitar dropped off from UPS. So I figured, why not go ahead and unbox it and I guess make a video on it. So it came in your typical guitar box. This right here is a Firefly acoustic guitar, completely rosewood body except for the top of the guitar, which is a spruce wood, solid spruce wood top. It is a fantastic little guitar from what I can see. Ended up only dropping about $180 on this thing. It was like $150 plus shipping. They're having some kind of sale going on right now, and I've been wanting a Firefly guitar for quite some time. So let me talk about the specs of the guitar real quick. Like I had said, we have rosewood body, back sides, rosewood neck, rosewood fretboard. Basically every kind of wood on the guitar is rosewood except for the top of the guitar, which is a solid spruce. 6-string steel guitars. The website said that they were nickel plated. The tuners are just regular old off-branded guitar tuners. They work pretty well from what I can see. I'm used to rocking kind of bottom of the barrel equipment whenever it comes to guitars, so these tuners are actually quite nice in comparison to the tuners I'm actually used to. We've got a gorgeous abalone trim binding on this thing, but we've also got what reminds me of, it almost looks like the pool cue plastic between the wood and the white plastic look to it. It reminds me of a pool cue. The color scheme of the guitar and the way that it looks and feels. The entire guitar has a very thick varnish on it, which makes it very shiny and smooth. But at the same time, it really does feel like whenever I grab this thing, I feel like I want to sanitize it because it feels like the public pool cues that you grab and pick up whenever you're at a bar or something. That's really legitimately what this feels like. It's a good feeling, don't get me wrong, but it just feels gross because of my past experiences. Now, whenever the guitar came inside of the box, right here's the guitar box it came in. Very basic and rudimentary. Actually, I'll probably get a better shot of that box right there. But very basic, rudimentary box. The guitar came wrapped in your typical, whatever this is, this soft plastic nylon style wrapping that they stuff guitars in to ship them. That was the only protection on this guitar. The guitar seems to be quite durable because the box had some damage to it, and the tuners definitely got thrashed around, and yet the tuners seem to be completely undamaged. Zero hardware came with the guitar other than an Allen key to adjust the truss rod. No straps, no picks, no tuners, no nothing like that, but for the price point that I paid for this thing, I am very much pleased with it. The actual action of the guitar, not terrible, not great, definitely higher than a high-end, well-maintained, well-established guitar would be, but for the price point that I paid for this thing, it is definitely a hell of a lot better than some of the other guitars that I have. On the bridge, our bridge nut is, well, there's a lot of bridge nut there, so it could be very easily ground down and the action could be very easily lowered on this thing. So the most mediocre amount of maintenance on this thing, or most mediocre amount of setup on this thing would very greatly impact the playability of this thing. Although it is very much playable right out of the box. I tuned it up already, and I went playing around with it a little bit before I decided to myself, you know what, I'm over here, I'm already playing around with it. I may as well hit record and make a video on it. So it is comfortable to play. It is kind of a fatter body than the guitars that I'm used to. Even the guitars that I have that are the same wideness as this guitar, with lack of a better term, the body of this one is just a little bit thicker than the ones that I have, but I imagine that there's no general spec for the thickness of the body of the guitar. I can just feel it in my underarm whenever I hold it. Now, since it came with no pick whatsoever, I just grabbed myself one of my picks out of my pile of very random miscellaneous picks, and that is what I'm going to use. So, from what I can tell with the guitar so far, it sounds pretty good. We have, on our fretboard right here, we have fret markings on 3, 5, 7, 9, 12, 15, and 17. And they are on both the front face of the fretboard along with the top of the guitar, which I find really useful. especially whenever I am in lighting that is not that great. And a lot of times whenever I play guitar, I'm still very, very new to guitar, and I'm very inexperienced, and like I said, my guitar skills are mediocre at best, but I am getting better. And that's what this journey with this channel is supposed to be. As I get better at guitar and start looking at different guitars and things like that, just I want to see the steps in progress that I've made. And I feel like I've made enough steps in progress to make another video. That's why I'm making this one. I will say that the wood, especially, my God, the wood on the neck. I have a gun channel and I run rifles all the time, and my goodness, I wish I had a rifle with a stock that looked like that. That is freaking gorgeous. Alright, first things first, the old tried and true. This is like the first song that I've learned. That was, I learned the whole, well, this isn't how it's actually played, but this is how I play it, because this was how I learned it, and I learned it just from listening. Anytime I get myself a new guitar, I do this little intro riff right here. This, would I call it a riff? I don't know. We're gonna call it a riff. Whenever I get myself a new guitar, I would do this right here, and that was just kind of how I tested it. And I do that because it's got several melody harmonics behind it. And if a guitar is not going to sound right or be in proper tune between one harmonic and the other, then this right here is a very good way for me to determine that. So here we go. So far, she plays really easily. And then we go into the G chord and they start singing. Don't expect me to sing. This thing's fun. For the amount of money that I spent on this is actually a very nice little guitar. Like I said, it's not the most expensive guitar, so it's not going to be the most high-end guitar, and I can definitely feel that. The frets aren't sharp, but they are definitely noticeable. Very easy to take care of that, though. The fretboard itself is quite dry. A lot of times, because I rock lower-end guitars, I keep them well-oiled just to help slick it up a little bit. But there's not a whole lot to complain about this thing. This would be a fantastic little starter guitar. So if you are looking to start playing, kind of like I am, there's definitely worse options out there in terms of beginning to get into guitars. Although my experience is very much lacking, like I said, I have played around with several really bad guitars, and I'll probably do videos on those later down the road. But I do not have the required guitar skill to show those off, so yeah, that's probably gonna hold off for a little while. The reason why I'm showing this one off is because of the way the action is and the way the fretboard is and just the way everything's so finely polished and positioned right where it needs to be. I can play this way easier than I can with the other ones, and I'm used to playing the other ones, so this one's actually quite easy to play in comparison to the other ones. I actually have a guitar. Most of my other guitars are unbranded, and I have a guitar, and I wrote overdose on the top of the headstock because the action on it is so ridiculously high. it's so high, the DEA is going to end up getting involved with that guitar. I'm probably going to make a video on that one later down the road. But I literally wrote Overdose, and that's the name of that guitar, because it is literally unplayable, because you have to bend the strings down so far that they go out of tune. And the nut is already whittled down. I took the nut off the bridge completely, but the nut on the neck is already whittled down to the point to where, like, if it was down any further, we'd hit the top of the first fret. But down in this direction, the strings have raised off the bridge so dramatically. That's just because the neck is warping, like violently warping. And that's just because it's a very poor quality guitar. I have nylon strings on it because it's a classic guitar, but it's got no truss rod, it's got no adjustments, it's just a wood neck. And it is very much coming apart. And guitars like that are what I'm used to playing on, so this is actually a big step up for me, so I'm quite excited with it. And it sounds good. It's got a good projection. I like the bass on it. It's got a very deep, distinctive sounding bass to it, and I find that very interesting with acoustics. Either they are fantastic and sound wonderful, because I've played several very good acoustics in my time, despite the fact that I'm not very good at guitar at all. But they either project sound extraordinarily well, or you may as well have the strings tied to a piece of wood because there's no sound projection whatsoever. But I can feel the vibrations coming out of the wood of this guitar in comparison to some of my other ones. So this is definitely... this is a good one. Yeah, I can hear the resonance. Well, the change in tone as I tap from one end of the guitar to the other. I notice in lower end guitars, it's way less distinctive than this. I do want to point this out though. Whenever I got this thing, there was a silica pack tucked away inside the guitar itself, and this was a freaking nightmare to get out of there. So keep that in mind. You're going to have to battle with a silica pack inside of your guitar whenever it is that you decide to pick up one of these things. They have several different options on their website, but I decided to go with this one because it's my first Firefly. It was the cheapest option they had. It was on sale, and I like the look of rosewood. So the rosewood along the entire thing is just mind-boggling gorgeous. And the spruce top was also very nice. I was kind of leaning towards mahogany, but it was like another $40 for mahogany, so I went with spruce. The abalone binding on this is absolutely superb. I don't see a whole lot of imperfections, even at a guitar at this price range. Normally you see like trim marks and whatnot that are not great, but I literally don't see anything. There's not even scuffs on the tuners from whenever they were thrashed around in that box. The one thing that I see that might potentially be considered a defect or a deformity is just the slightest little notch back here where the trim is stuck together. There's just this tiniest little indentation on the back of the guitar, but it is so far from noticeable. My God, this thing is so shiny and smooth and sturdy. My other guitars are like made of particle board. This thing's a game changer. I'm very much looking forward to playing this thing. All right, well, thanks for watching. That meatloaf over there is probably getting cold by this point, so I'm gonna go have me some meatloaf. You guys go off, have a fantastic day. I'm not gonna make y'all subscribe to the channel because there's not much to see on this channel. But I still think that this is going to be a fun time in the making and one hell of an adventure going forward. I spy... Oh, no. I thought it was a deformity. It was just something on the neck. Never mind. Alright, well, this guitar is going to take up my time for quite some time. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. You guys go off. Have a fantastic day.